Chapter 1. Bill. Happy Valley, Oregon. Friday, May 27th, 2022. Bill felt like Ebenezer Scrooge. For a moment, as he stared at a flat granite gravestone, his gravestone, he felt like a man who had reached the end of the line. He felt like a man facing change. He did not fear the future. Unlike Scrooge in the climactic scene of A Christmas Carol, he was confident he would proceed to a better place. He would join his beloved wife in heaven just as surely as he would join her in this peaceful corner of Willamette National Cemetery. He was less sanguine about the present. For the first time in decades, he did not have his rock to lean on. He did not have the love, support, and guidance of a woman who had stood by his side for 57 years. Bill, a retired professor of folklore and mythology, mulled that unsettling circumstance for a moment. He lifted his head and gazed at the dreary sky. Then he looked again at the marker and noted its particulars. William Henry Carpenter, PFC, U.S. Army. Alice Blair Carpenter, January 17, 1942, to April 18, 2022. Bill wondered if Alice, a former editor and a stickler for grammar, was searching for a red pen in God's newsroom. He knew she wouldn't rest in peace until someone added a few periods and 2 more dates. He suspected she would not have to wait long. Though he was as healthy and physically fit as a man of 60, he was not the man who had once climbed Shasta, Rainier, and Denali. William Carpenter was 81. Bill gathered his thoughts. Then he spoke to the people who had accompanied him to the cemetery. He spoke to the only family he had left. "What do you think?" Paul Carpenter answered first. "It's not bad for a work in progress." Bill managed a smile. He appreciated his younger brother's humor as much as he appreciated his presence on this day. He pondered the obvious observation for a moment, and then turned to his sister. "What do you think?" Annie Carpenter gazed at the stone. I like it a lot. It's simple, modest, and unpretentious. Like the people it's meant to honor. It does the job." Bill nodded in agreement. He was glad his siblings approved of his decision to remember a humble woman with a humble marker. He turned to Paul, who stood at his left, and noticed sadness and regret in his piercing blue eyes. He also noted some irony. While Alice, a military spouse, had a place in a military cemetery, Paul, a combat veteran, would never have a place. He had lost that privilege, along with others, when he had returned from Vietnam under a cloud. After leaving his unit for 2 days without authorization during Operation Junction City in 1967, Paul was drummed out of the Army and sent home in disgrace. As a soldier with a bad paper discharge, he could not qualify for any veterans' benefits. He was persona non grata. Paul did not fare better as a civilian. He bounced from job to job, married and divorced 3 times, and battled drug addiction, alcoholism, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Now he coped with terminal lung cancer. Bill gazed at Paul with affection. Then he turned to his sister, the baby of the family, a woman fighting her own demons. He could only guess what she was thinking as she held an umbrella in the late spring drizzle. Once a vibrant, cheerful soul, Annie was a quiet, reflective woman who approached each day with dread. She had never been the same since losing the use of her legs in a fatal automobile accident in 1964.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.